everybody, and welcome to Reed's Reach Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at the SpiderManCrawlspace.com. Well, hey everyone, I'm here to review, of course, my podcast with Jonah Jameson, issues 38 through 40, aka all the way to Amazing Spider-Man 841. So let's get on to the review with the pros. First of all, I really did enjoy this storyline. I've always loved the character of Chance. He was a very interesting character when he came up into the scene back in the 80s during the Black Costume Saga. Believe it or not, it was one of the last stories I had before I got out of comics back in the mid-80s. So it was really refreshing to see him. And it made sense with the palace of having this set up and as well as bringing in all the pieces together here with the foreigner, the bedding, and also the setup for, of course, J. Jonah Jameson. I also really love the relationship with Spider-Man and Jonah. Now, since Jonah Jameson has, of course, learned Spider-Man's identity since Peter told him back in Spectacular a couple years ago, it's been really interesting with this relationship. And Jonah actually hits a lot of interesting features about how Spider-Man has had his chances to have better PR, and also going back to some of the writing of the Superior Spider-Man, as well as some of the storylines that have happened recently. And he even brings up the current bank robbery with Teresa Parker, which, of course, was a dead drop for a part of the Magia, which closed into the Chameleon storyline. The artwork is really, really good here by Myron Colino. He really just gets all the characters great. The emotions are fantastic. I love what Nick Spencer does with really bringing Peter back to the supporting cast members with Jameson, Nora Winters, and of course what's been going on with the college area. But that kind of leads me a little bit to the cons here. First of all, the big part with Teresa Parker knocking everything with Peter, the storyline actually doesn't make sense. It's supposed to move into the Chameleon storyline, which we'll talk a little bit more in a little shortly. But really, Teresa just has Peter steal the documents from the dead drop at the bank and has no idea why. Why ruin your brother's reputation again? You know, I know it feeds into the storyline, but there's just no point to her having Spider-Man commit something that looked like an actual crime. And why Jameson, of course, clears it with his article at the newsfeed piece. It still just doesn't really make sense. Also, there's there's more holes in it than anything else. Something you notice, too, is we don't really understand what is going on with Chance and the Foreigner. Originally, when the Foreigner brings up this bet for him to steal one of Spider-Man's web shooters, we don't understand why Chance needs to lose and something about he'll be ruined. It's never truly explained. Some of my other reviewers have also wondering, they don't understand what is Chance's problem with why he cannot win the bet to steal Spider-Man's web shooter and actually wants Spider-Man to beat him until the Foreigner sends out the various jack-o'-lanterns to actually make the bet happen. It just doesn't quite make sense. And I'm sure Spencer will explain this later on, but really it's just kind of there and it doesn't really have any build-up or anything. It just happens. Also, another thing is with Nora Winters, why it's really well how Spencer works with the character in her little piece, in fact, trying to put her in as more of a modern day J. Jonah Jameson, and even bringing up the relationship between her and Randy Robertson as well as Phil Urwich and how she's been lately. But there's some really big moments. One of all is, seeing Spider-Man's mask and saying, oh, him and Mary Jane are doing some role playing, if you get my drift. But at the fact that she doesn't put two and two together here about Spider-Man's suit and the fact that she doesn't figure out Peter is Spider-Man. Another thing is, if it was so easy for Nora to just wander in there, how come Fred, aka Boomerang, who's coming up in the storyline soon, has not really gone through Peter's stuff and also found it? It just seems that Peter's being very careless here. He just does what Teresa wants, and the fact that he leaves his costume out to be found by Nora Winters. It doesn't really make sense. Also with the clairvoyant also brings him to a point with the other graduate student that he's now using it for personal gain, which we all know is going to be a problem. But at the same time it's reading him right up because you can see something bad is going to happen to Peter coming up with that storyline. And I think we're all kind of leading to either is this the Parker luck or the fact that Peter should really just let these people hang to dry. Also the revelation why a shocker with the Chameleon being the one who's actually fronting everything with Jameson's new gig as well as Peter's now new job, where Nora's business clickbait one side is. Why would she do that? The Chameleon is not someone she can, because I know they're trying to paint her as trying to be smarter than the Chameleon, and even though he says there's strings attached, I just don't see. I mean, other characters have always done things where they kind of make these deals with the supervillains, but usually they're blackmailed or they don't know they're being manipulated by him. Here, Nora outright notes the Chameleon is doing everything for his grand plan, which looks kind of cool because now it's unfolding and actually brings in a little bit more with Teresa Parker and what's been going on with the storyline. But at the same time why would she do it? It was a really fun storyline. The artwork is fantastic. I will give it a B+. It has got some solid writing, fantastic artwork, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming conclusion to the Boomerang storyline here in the next couple of weeks here. So well done on that. And with that, everybody, I am officially out of here. Remember to check us out at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com for more of the latest Spider-Man news, reviews, and panels of the day, and much, much more. And I will see everybody on the crawl space.